Yeah.
Let me go back to Taklai now. In the opening segment, you're talking about the different press releases from Magala to Addis, including the NDF, and from Brussels, I guess, and Washington, all these actors, actually a number of countries as well coming together, including Canada, issuing this statement. So again, your take on how the Pretoria Agreement performed in terms of Tigray, or if you will, you can expand on the other parties as well. But how do you compare and contrast with how each of these capitals, the international community, is reading this agreement and its performance vis-a-vis what we see on the ground in Tigray? Tarlai.
Well, if I may get at you, if I could start saying a few words about the agreement itself. I know that each one of us has very, very strong opinions about the agreement, whether it should have been signed, the merits of it, the demerits of it. There are a lot of views, strong views. But without going into any details, I think one thing that is very, very important to point out now is that regardless of how good it is for Tigray, the agreement, it was good that it was signed, because as we now know, the situation then for Tigray was extremely unsustainable because of the siege, because of the lack of weaponry. I think that the damage that would have been unleashed on Tigray was going to be extremely unprecedented. So it was good that it was signed. And also, if you read the profiles of the martyred, you could see that most of the combatants from Tigray side were killed on the days preceding the agreement. It was a huge amount of casualties. So you could see that the situation was extremely difficult for Tigray. And for that reason alone, I think it was good that it was signed. Now, we could debate about whether or not we could have secured a better deal, whether the Tigray negotiators should have been prepared more, whether Tigray should have sent better negotiators. But a lot of things to be debated there. But on balance, it was good that it was signed. And I think that is about the only thing that the only positive thing that I could say about the agreement. And of course, the negative aspects of the agreement, first of all, the concession from the Tigray side is extraordinary. For the first time, the Tigray government accepted that it would be accountable to the Ethiopian regime rather than to the Tigray people. It's extraordinary concession to make for a people who prides themselves on being autonomous and on having fought for liberation and all that. It's extraordinary concession to have made. And some of the terms in the agreement, so for instance, the term concurrent withdrawal of Eritrean and non-NDF forces, it was never defined what concurrent means. Who withdraws first? Do the Amhara and the Eritreans withdraw first before the Tigrayans disarm, or the other way around? It was never defined. But actually, in the way that things panned out, the Tigray forces disarmed, but the Eritreans have never left, and the Amhara have never left. But reading the agreement, you wouldn't know that this is how things were going to unfold. So it was ambiguous, but I think by design from Abiy's side, at the very least. And the other term in the agreement is disputed territories were going to be resolved following the constitution. And it's never defined what they meant by disputed. Is everything that the Amharas claim disputed by that very fact? Or is there any other definition? Because the Amharas do claim a lot of territories in Tigray, still even territories that they didn't occupy then. Would that disputed or would that not disputed? It's never defined. And even if it was defined, they didn't explain what it means to resolve those areas using the constitution. Because using the constitution, one possible interpretation would be that they should withdraw first, and then you follow the constitution to adjudicate if there are any claims from the Amhara side. That would be one plausible interpretation, right? Another one would be that they continue occupying what they have occupied, and if Tigray has any claims or any complaints, it goes into following the constitution. That is another completely different, radically different interpretation. But reading the agreement, you wouldn't know which it is. And then the task of overseeing the implementation was given to the African Union. And the African Union, as everybody knows, is on Abiy's side. And at any rate, even if it was partial, it doesn't have any teeth. No, it's not able to enforce anything. And as we now know, actually, they have tried to go into some areas, for instance, in Western Tigray, but the Eritreans wouldn't allow them. And the African Union didn't have any mechanism to enforce that, to tell Eritrea, you can't do this. So the fact that the implementation was tasked to the African Union was a joke. Number one, because the African Union is on Abiy's side, it's an extension of the Ethiopian regime. And number two, even if in a very hypothetical situation where it was impartial, it wouldn't have the mechanism to be able to enforce in the face of an extremely stubborn and recalcitrant Eritrean regime. And one of the assumptions, sort of implied assumption in the agreement, is that Abiy is a good faith actor in the whole thing. But Abiy is not a good faith actor. And I think Hermes mentioned it even in the article as well, because the reason Abiy was forced into signing the agreement was because he wasn't able to finish off the TPLF within the 10 days, and it was very deliberately protracted. Abiy kept pushing the days because the thinking from Abiy's side was that by the time they signed the agreement, the war would have been finished. That was thinking, and that didn't happen. And the reason he signed the agreement was because he wasn't able to finish the war. And because his intention has always been to eliminate the TPLF and to weaken Tigray, he has resorted into a completely different kind of war. But that is not the assumption that they make in the agreement. The assumption is that both the TPLF and the Abiy regime are good faith players, but that's not the case. And it's completely different assumptions. And we are now seeing the results. I think it's because I don't want to take time. I have a lot of other points, but maybe I will come to them in the next round.
Great, thank you, Tahlai, for pointing all that. Brooke, I just want to follow